Hey everyone, Board Game Bro here. Today we are going to go over the drinking rules for Sheriff of Nottingham. Now, if you're not familiar with the rules of this game, just the base game, essentially the idea is that you are a merchant trying to get goods into a festival so you can sell them and make more money than everyone else. That's how you win the game. And you'll bring in goods like chickens or apples or bread, and there's also contraband you can try and sneak in, like mead or pepper or even crossbows for some reason. I can't believe it hasn't been addressed that you're trying to get murder weapons into what is essentially the state fair to sell to people. Like, scanty ethical decisions are abundant in this game. What's going to happen is every round, as a merchant, you're going to try and sneak goods into the festival, or just declare goods that you're bringing into the festival. Thing is, you can bring in goods that you haven't declared, and the sheriff, who will be one of the merchants, it just switches off every round, is going to try and stop anyone with undeclared goods, but they don't know who has them and who does not. So you are lying and negotiating with the sheriff to try and sneak your goods past him. And because it's lying and negotiating, I think it is the perfect game for drinking rules. Now, as is the case with many of my drinking games, it's a fairly heavy drinking game. This is also, the rules are based around the first edition of this game. So the company that owns the IP for this recently sold it to Come On Games. They have decided to re-release it, which, thank God, because the art in this game is just creepy as hell. Especially the guy with the colossal neck lump. Like, he's got some terminal thyroid issue. Just look at him. He's hideous. Surely the second edition probably improves on this art. Holy shit, turn it off, turn it off. Alright, well, there are 6 rules in total, 4 of which will take place during the game and 2 that will take place at the end of the game. Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to give you the first 2 rules, and then we're going to use an example to recover them. But first, if the sheriff is to catch a merchant with undeclared goods, the merchant must drink the penalty for every good in their bag. If you don't know what the penalty is right now, we're going to cover it in the example. In the second rule, if the sheriff lets undeclared goods slip by, he must drink 4 for every contraband that sneaks by him and 2 for every undeclared good that would otherwise be legal. So again, let's cover these in an example real quick. Sir Thyroid and Lady Duckface here are both going to try and sneak undeclared goods past the sheriff. Sir Thyroid says he declares 3 loaves of bread. Sheriff decides not to check Sir Thyroid. He clearly doesn't have long to live. Why waste his little remaining time with bureaucracy? But turns out Sir Thyroid was bringing in only 1 loaf of bread, a bushel of apples, and a crossbow. For the sheriff being bad at his job, he must drink 6. 2 for the bushel of apples because they weren't declared, and 4 for the contraband. Annoyed with his own incompetence, the sheriff checks Lady Duckface, who declared 3 chickens. Turns out she was trying to sneak in 1 chicken and 2 crossbows. Who is buying all of these f***ing crossbows? Anyway, she has to drink 10 because she has to drink the penalty of everything she tried to bring in. And you can find the penalty on the bottom right of every card. Rule number 3. If the merchant is 100% honest about everything that he's bringing into the festival, and the sheriff doesn't check his bag, he gets to give away 1 drink for every declared good that he brings in. He can't give any of them to the sheriff, though. So the purpose of this rule is to not punish the sheriff, because he shouldn't have checked your bag, and it punishes your enemies and gets them drinking. This means that if I declared 4 bushels of apples, and I bring in 4 legal bushels of apples, then I get to give away 4 drinks to anyone besides the sheriff. And rule 4, the sheriff may request drinks as a bribe. So originally I just had this as a rule to add additional drinks, but it actually turned out to be a really interesting tool that the sheriff can use to probe for more information from the merchants. Didn't really mean for that to happen, but happy little accidents. The last 2 rules, the only endgame rules you need to know. So at the end of the game, you're going to decide the king and queen of all the different categories. So for instance, if the king of the chickens is the one that snuck through the most chickens, and the queen of the chickens got the second most. So go through and do that for each of the 4 categories, and for each king of the category, he may give out 8 drinks, divvy them out amongst the other players. However, he can't give any to the queen of that category. And then the last rule, rule number 6, the winner of the game will count up all of their gold, divide it by 20, and every single other player, all of the losers, have to drink that number. So if I were to win with 121 gold, all of the other players must drink 7. You're punished for losing. That's how the games work. Now, those are all of the rules you need to remember for the game. I'm going to put them all in the description in a nice printable format for you, so that way you can just print them off and hand them out to everyone, and you don't have to just listen to this video over and over again and write them down. I'll do all that for you. But yeah, check that out, and you should be good to go to get this game out of the table. And that's it, guys. If you like this content, please hit the like button. Helps me on the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want notifications when I release more videos, hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button. My goal is to get one of these out every single week, as well as some other content. So go ahead and hit those buttons for me. So I appreciate y'all jumping on. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, get out there and game.